collected all the documents that he needed to, and they do a review. They put the information together in 10 days, which ended on the 23rd. Then they send their opinions and their recommendations and so forth to the governor and his board, and they review it for another 20 days. Now, the one thing that I am very hopeful for is that Mr. Kerry Vaughn did tell us that if we were to get a viable deficit elimination plan in, that he would consider that in his review. We did do that. The deficit elimination plan was a one-year deficit elimination plan that by the end of the year 2014 to the beginning of 2015, we will be out of the deficit. We would even be able to have a small surplus. So that deficit elimination plan was submitted to Mr. Kerry Bond. That's what included eliminating Oakland County Sheriff. That was really, I'm being real honest with you, that was a very brave move on this board to do that.
Now, we had for that continuity in the past sheriff department. But I couldn't see how you guys could see that 2-3 years ago.
Well, as I said, that was a very brave move on this board to do that. Because we're paying that much for one shift. And that would take us completely out of the deficit without putting much of any other cost to the township. So hopefully Mr. Kerry Bond has considered that in his plan, but now it's reviewed, it fits into the governor's review team.
The property that sits on 8 Mile and long from Mitchell until Long. Do we receive taxes from those stores or those properties? So why are we so in debt?
The chargeback, excuse me, the township was in good shape until last year, the end of last year, when the mail fire property, the chargeback of $800,000. Oakland County Treasurer, before we have a new Oakland County Treasurer, he's pretty good. His name is Andy Miser. Before him, there was Dohane. I can't remember his first name. Was it Patrick Dohane? Patrick Dohane was Oakland County Treasurer for a long time. Patrick Dohane continued to make payment arrangements with the property at Bell Park for 5 years. No, without us knowing. We did not know. When Andy Meisner became Oakland County Treasurer, he came to Rollo Township, and he told us at that time, you guys owe us $800,000. And we had no idea. And then he began to tell us why. And that's when the process began. So as of last year, the end of last year, he took, how much was it, about $300,000? That's all, oh, excuse me, he took $500,000 of our taxes last year, near the end of the year. This year, he came and took the other $300,000 plus the other taxes. Yeah.
Everyone's taking from us. You say take.
Because
everyone's taking from us. No one's giving us anything. We're so in debt that we can't even pay the people that we owe.
no, they thought that was money that was given to us over a period of 5 years.
So
That's why I said that this board needs to go to Oakland County, send a letter to Mr. Meisner this year and say, we don't want that charge back. We don't want that charge back mail fraud. Because they will give it to us. Yeah. But we have to refuse it. And that way, if it comes along again, we won't have to pay it back.
Okay, so that's done. So what funding do we have now for the
As I said earlier, we have our revenue sharing. We're working just on our revenue sharing. And the two meals that Oakland County Treasurer is giving us, yes. To just take us through the remainder of the year, there's just 3 more months in this year. In January, we will start receiving our regular tax dollars. And we won't have to pay Oakland County Sheriff.
Wow.
Yes. Well, we will pay them what we owe them back, but I mean, as far as moving on.
800,000 right there, right?
Pardon?
About 800,000, you still owe them.
Oakland County share?
Yeah.
No, 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 about 250,000, plus there is, excuse me, there is a small, well, it's not that small, amount that is owed to general fund for Oakland County share. Oh, okay, they said,
It seems like we're spending our wheels in the mud. We can't get out of the
We
hole.
will be
Get
out.
ourselves. I mean, you guys, I mean, from supervisor to supervisor, you seem like we hear the same story.
No.
But then, you know, nothing's being done.
You haven't heard this before, this has never happened to the township before. This is the
But
first
then
time.
the
This is the first time in Oakland County, the township, my 8 years on this board, we were never in debt. No, we were not. Not to this tune, excuse me, not to this tune, not to this tune, not to this tune.
Not to what you want.
No.
Right, for 3,000,
Not to this tune,
300,000,
not to
you're
what we're
right.
going into, what we're facing right now. Never.
Not
Not my time. Okay.
You can't get all of what's done. Okay, I'll leave it alone.
Thank you. I don't know, you all make this, y'all might have to put it as a resolution or something.
Are we entitled to a late fee for Oak Park? Is there a late?
I beg your
Are
pardon?
we entitled to a late fee for Oak Park? If they're late with, paying the certified or whatever?
No, because the collections that they're paying us is based on their residents paying them. So they're not late, they're paying, their obligation is to pay it to us as it is collected. So they're not late.
Okay, what is the date, time and place of the court's litigation?
October 2nd at 8:30 at 1200 North Telegraph.
Well, no, okay, can a resolution be provided to the citizens that you read here tonight?
Yeah, I can give you a copy of mine. Here's some right here.
But I mean, for all citizens, I take yours, but.
Okay. I can make copies and, I'll have them here tomorrow.
Okay.
Good evening.
I'll be here.
First one is, question of protocol. And the action you're taking against the clerk regarding the resolution and things will happen in a regular meeting, especially. Should the minutes, or those minutes be approved before you proceed with more actions or any other actions in regard to that? Should the minutes of those meetings, which you made the action against the clerk, be approved, then without seeing what happens today, before you proceed with other actions? That's a protocol question.
I don't believe that the approval of minutes are a necessary criteria or predicate to legal action. You certainly want to have business done in a timely fashion because the clerk itself is responsible for preparation, and now we've been interim clerk. It's a bit awkward, but Mr. Ford is doing what he can do, the best he can do. This board has approved minutes from meetings that occurred once before, but it does get around. Yes.
The second question was Fred in regards to the 2 mil Oak Park, and you stated that the funds we received what they collected on the property, I guess, within that district. So if they don't collect the tax on it, we don't receive that money, or did it come no later on? The second question is, they go through the same process and say they don't collect the taxes, then the property owner reverts back to Oak Park, we get that property.
Well, what happens is, it's the same process that we go through, as relates to regarding tax fraud. So anybody who doesn't pay, it goes up to labor, and then Oakland County pays Oak Park, and Oak Park pays us. So like at the end of last year, there was only less than $300 that we did not get paid, and they paid us as part of the delinquent tax settlement. So we do get it because it goes with delinquent, and Oakland County pays them and they pay us.
My third question goes back to the clerk and restraining order. Based on the definition that you stated we have, the clerk being in office, and we have an acting clerk, that she's still supposed to reduce unless she, decides not to, the interim clerk steps in. I guess my question is, based on what you all just stated, was the clerk asked to come in and do the payroll, and she refused to do it? Was the clerk asked to turn her keys and mentioned, and she refused to do it? But that was an impression based on the most of the citizens, that because she felt she was out of office, she stepped out, she wasn't there. So with the assumption of the acting clerk was going to take a position. Based on what you say is, she's supposed to be doing it, she's supposed to be asked to do the position first. If she refused to do it, then the interim clerk, am I correct?
Through the chair, at the present time, we have no indication from Ms. Brinkley that she's willing to perform any of her functions. She's invited to sit here today for this meeting, and in her capacity as clerk, she declined to do that. So we're kind of left in a limbo situation. The business of the township has to be performed. It would be nice to have the niceties of will you do this, will you not do this. At this point, I don't see the ability.
I don't think that was the question. I don't think he answered or understood the question.
Business, nor is it likely, because the clerk has retained or ostensibly retained legal counsel and declines to talk to my office. So I'd advise my client accordingly to fulfill all the statutory duties of the clerk's office, do so promptly to the best of their ability, and we'll let the court sort out all the details.
Okay, so basically, you directed the township to go ahead and receive the clerk's duties.
I did send an email to Ms. Brinkley today directing that she had a duty to perform payroll,
This is after the fact.
but I did not receive any reply.
After the fact.
But I guess what I'm saying is the whole issue with the bank resolution, you wouldn't have to be addressed, it wouldn't have to be addressed if the clerk was asked, you would assume that she was done. Again, I don't know, not knowing all the details, but I'm saying that kind of issue could have been resolved.
I think that the clerk still has authority to sign, but we cannot rely on
Your assumption without asking a question.
Inconsistency of her electing to perform this function or that function. The business of the township cannot be made to turn upon the discretion of one individual. That brings the township to a grinding halt. And whether Ms. Brinkley's views are justified or not will be sorted out in the court. Until then, we are going to move forward the best we can.
Okay, one more questions. One regarding code enforcement. I think I appreciate you bringing this hard. I guess we were trying to find out here verbally in the planning commission. All we wanted to do was the building officials to be given authority on the day, usually on Thursday, to do code enforcement. That's all we were asking. I think the supervisor did. But I knew you all didn't act on it. I was hoping we would act on it. Again, I'm hoping to have the next meeting.
I have a question. So, when Mr. Jackson made that statement, so that has to be board approval?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's only authorized as the building official, but not the building official and code enforcement officer. So you need you all to act just for Thursday.
Well, Thursday is when she is absent, but he does assist her. That's only when she's not acting, when she's not here.
But I would just do it in general, because he's not gonna cost you any more than Thursday because he's here anyway.
Right.
So just go ahead on and do it that day, whether she's there or not, because if she's not there, then we got the issue of figuring out what happens if she's not there, based on it. So I'm we just recommend just giving that authority.
Does he have certification?
Yes.
Oh, yes, he knows, yes.
And then the last thing is what I was looking for in a minute was also Mr. Jackson brought the master plan, the letter that was sent to you all. What we're asking is to make sure that the board does officially receive it, not confirm you did not, or approve it. Because again, what that does is reaffirm the master plan for the next 5 years. If that's not in place, and we don't know what's happening, if we get an issue with some of our 8 mile property owners that we're trying to deal with, they take us to court, and then they find we don't have our master plan reaffirmed, then a court, a judge can file something against them in their favor. So that's all we're saying, is make sure that's in place, so we don't have any problem as we continue to try to redevelop on the Thank you.
So I think it's a 3-minute rule. minutes. Because everybody was longer than 3 minutes. So when I'm talking like I'm not going to 3 minutes. Probably 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Letter dated from Mr. Finch of September 12th. In the second paragraph, it states that money collected for the police notice should solely be used for law enforcement purposes. I'm going back to my point that the sheriff's department money was not there because you used money to pay off the $300,000 loan. Now you want me to go back as a citizen and pay more money to pay for a bill that should already been paid. And that ain't right. Number two, I said in the meeting upstairs, I asked the senator, and everybody heard him say that he was hoping that the board and the clerk could get together and work on the winter court. Yes, I would have to pay from the attorney for her because he couldn't represent both. He also said that anytime that the firm spent on this type of litigation would be over and above what they were doing. So, I mean, y'all sit there sagging in the vote, but I'm not sure that him or anybody else realize that you're telling him now that he's not going to get paid. Third thing is I got a question. Who was the locksmith? I keep asking all nobody says.
It was,
It was Oscar Phillips.
they want lots of over.
Roy we have more citizens? Yes. The last meeting, regarding the fire department, someone actually said, how many fires did we have here in the township? And in regards to the amount of money that we're paying out to them, that was mentioned in one of the meetings. That how many fires we had, and in comparison to the money that we're paying them. Did anyone calculate that? Or find out how many fires we've had here in the township?
Well, I know that, I get some of my package like once a month, usually where they send and itemize, paper on what they did for us, like kitchen fire or cancel. I know, I didn't get in my package this time, but, I will try to make sure when they send us the next one, make sure our reducers get a copy of it.
So that's what that was, you know.
Right, I understand.
Get that together and try to deduct or find out just how much money we should be actually paying. I really don't know. Now, I'm wondering, did the clerk have a deputy?
Yes.
So if she had a deputy, why didn't the deputy step in and take over her duties?
I have no idea. For that to the time.
Right.
What,
Great question.
what we do here, you have someone back you up and you pulled out, someone else to step in. Mr. Ford is the trustee. I don't know whether he knows the workings of, I don't know whether any of you all have been in administrative positions out in different places. There are certain things you should know, and I don't know about what you know about Robert's rules or not, but there's certain things that should be done that are legal and illegal. If you have an assistant, that person should step into your place. Why should you have to come and get someone else to take over the duties when the assistant should know what's going on in the office? I don't understand that. Okay? Now, as far as the code enforcer, I thought she was eligible to write tickets. So if she's not writing tickets, what is she being paid for? I don't understand a lot of this. Like I said before, I understand she was in a hospital. That was the early part of the year, the latter part of last year. She was in a hospital. There was a house and several houses that I had spoken about, and everything's still the same. Now, if she can't write tickets, what is the purpose of having her as a code enforcer if she cannot enforce anything? So,
I'm sorry that we are at this dilemma right now. Here we all out here as people, citizens of this township, and every time you turn around, there's something going on, squabbling and all this other stuff, all these resolutions and whatever, it's just time consuming and nothing being done. So could we all, do you pray before this meeting? What do you do? Okay, thank you.
But the police have to enforce it.
Yes, excuse me.
I have just one question, I don't need mine. This is the legal counsel. You have a 7-member board. It takes 4 to vote. Now, when you decided that you wanted Mr. Billy Ford, trustee, to become the acting clerk, did he vote? Was he supposed to vote? No. Should he abstain from voting?
Yes.
I just cut it over, that's my question.
Is that your question?
That's my question.
Seems you have several opinions floating around out there. Mr. Ford is a trustee, he's eligible to vote on matters that come before the board. He can't be stripped of that authority. Could he have indicated that he was abstaining? Yes, he could have. Is he obligated to do so? No, he's not.
So he can vote?
He can vote on a matter that comes before the board, particularly pursuant to a court order authorizing the board to appoint him. Don't forget the court order specifically allowed Mr. Ford to be appointed if that was his board's
I'm not
direction.
questioning that.
Yeah,
My question is, even if it was a court order, and they got the authority to appoint him, should he have voted, is my question. Should he have stayed, since he's the one being put in that position? That's why I'm asking the question.
Should is, I don't do shoulds, I do law says, law don't say. Law says he's entitled to do that.
I don't have a court order, and I haven't seen no paper, but that question was asked of me by several people. So the best way to get the answer is come here and find out.
Well, I appreciate that.
I don't think Mr. Martin was there. Also, it was added to the agenda, as Mr. Patrick Harris to become interim clerk, and he also voted for himself.
I don't care, yeah, I'm just
I'm
asking.
just saying.
My question is, if you are being nominated for something, should you vote on it?
They both did, both trustees.
But he didn't get in, he did.
Okay, board, I have I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You said you had a 3-minute rule, and everybody talking for 3 minutes. I'd like to correct, Mr. Reynolds is still here, I know you know. It wasn't Attorney Pinto, it was Attorney Moore. He was referring to.
No, it was Pintuck I talked to.
No, but I mean at that meeting upstairs.
No, Mr. Pintuck, he was sitting on the side of the table.
No, but he's right.
I know what I'm talking about.
He's right.
It was Attorney Moore.
Yeah.
But my question is,
It wasn't Pintuck.
you said something about a special assessment that is going to be set aside to cover all of it. Who's going to pay that special assessment? Is that going to be levied against the citizens?
In 2012, the board adopted a resolution regarding police special assessment. That was assessed last year, will be assessed this year.
But I'm talking about as far as the legal fees that are going to accumulate in this lawsuit and all of that. Who's going to pay for it?
Again, the firm is on a flat retainer, so
So there won't be any additional, that $90 an hour.
this is what Ms. Reeves, the original motion back in June was to retain the firm for special litigation at $90 an hour. The board said no. So that died.
I'm really confused, because I'm almost certain that I heard you say that there would be, an additional $90 an hour.
Yes.
Because, you have flat retainer fee or whatever.
And that was out of the job
whatever
scope of
term
his
is
realm.
for it. And, this wasn't included.
That's right.
I apologize if I miscommunicated.
Yeah, but I'm really confused. There's a whole lot of things being said and tossed around here.
But I'm trying to answer your question.
Please.
Your question is no, for the litigation involving Ms. Brinkley, it's under a flat fee agreement.
Will the township be responsible for her attorney fees?
If the judge decided. We don't have control over the court, the court will do it as well.
Because I'm almost certain.
Ms. Brinkley will certainly have her attorney ask the court for that. The court will decide it and we'll argue it then.
I believe I heard you say it.
That's right.
But I just said what I said.
No, I mean, I believe that I heard you say that it was our responsibility.
No.
You didn't say it.
I thought I heard the same.
Yeah, well, I mean.
Well, if the court orders it, then you're out.
You don't have anybody taking minutes. Were there any minutes taken from tonight's people? All right, minutes. Because I haven't seen the minutes from the people that he made that statement. That I think he made that statement.
If I can quote
And I'm not trying to create any problem or anything. I just want some clarification, because there's a lot of things being said up here.
that's true.
Well, I think we've clarified it, and whether it's consistent with what your past understanding is a different question, but as of right now, the township is not obligated to pay Ms. Brinkley. The court may order, that's up to the court. Hearing will be held next week to decide that and many other issues. Our firm represents the township on a flat fee and not on an hourly rate.
So that's, you recorded that.
So I guess that, I guess, I'm assuming what he's asking is that this situation that we're going through is not considered anything special outside the realm of your retainer fee, that this is,
No.
it's not gonna cost the township anything at all.
The board rejected that proposal, so.
Yeah, I have one other question. And this is going back to trying to reduce, to eliminate, deficit, cutting costs and all that. I asked before, were there any time studies done on different jobs that are being done around the town? I never got a definitive answer. And I would like to get an answer this evening. Has anybody ever done a time study?
Well, I can say I have in my office, that's why the hours are reduced. Based on the amount of faculty received, and I mean, people come in to pay property taxes, cash receipts for building permits, dog license. It didn't want the office being open 8 hours a day, or 10 hours a day, 4 days a week.
Okay. Has anybody else done any time study? Time study, you know what time study is?
You mean a very, evaluation of positions to.
Job, the time that it takes to do different jobs.
What you referring to?
I'm referring overall, overall, has there been any time study being done? You talk about it, cutting costs and all of that, but how do you go about doing it?
We gotta keep them telling what to do on that too. And they are directed, they do directions on what to do.
Not only him, I said overall.
That's all we got, two, right?
You got more than me.
Well, we have more employees than that, but I'm just saying. Those are the ones that do the areas that you concern. The grass cutting is different things.
Okay, well, that's a big concern, because that's the overall appearance of the town. That has a lot to do with the appearance. I would be speaking, and that goes back to what I was saying before, has anybody considered contracting that work out?
That would cost more money, right?
How do you know?
They would do it for free.
I think because, I think we know, excuse me, I think we know because our DPW workers are probably the lowest paid in this area, and they haven't received a raise in 10 years. So I know that, I don't think.
Have you checked around to see?
No, I haven't gotten that far yet. I haven't gotten that far yet. The one thing that I was working on in my office is supervisor's disposal. So then I had to stop and had to make sure that these things get taken care of before this month, before the 30th. So I haven't, as soon as I get through, I will continue on disposal and I will do others. I will, look into others. But it's really, I mean, every department is up under me. I'm dealing with Rural Rights, Smart, I'm dealing with DPW, all of them. They're all up under me. Code enforcement. So it's a lot in my lap, Mr.
It's not.
So I'm doing the best that I can.
It might seem like I'm being real critical in that in some ways, and I guess I am, but that's not really my intention. But it's things that I never hear addressed at the meetings. Just a minute, I've been bringing this up for years. Every time we come to the meetings, the same doo-dah, every meeting. And now, I mean, things have changed a little bit in recent months. Now we're dealing with this. And that's all I hear. I don't hear anything about anything else, concerning the township.
3 minutes.
And I would like to hear some other things, some constructive things that we could be doing to help the township instead of all that. That's all.
We will, again, RFP, so.
But it would be nice if you come to a meeting and I hear somebody at the board say, well, I looked into something.
You sound like that Republican from Texas, too,
Mr. Welch, yes, ma'am. I would like to address, you asked, had anybody ever looked into changing employees or cutting down? First of all,
see, you know what? Can I say something? Just something interject. I know where you're going with that.
Where?
See, I seem to think that when something like that comes up, you stepping on people's toes, giving individuals toes.
No, that's not where I'm not going from, Herbert. What I'm trying to say is, you heard the saying that some employees haven't had a raise in 10 years. What you don't realize is that the few employees that we do have are in a union, okay? And we can make changes, but that's a negotiable item to do. You just can't cut them out. Now, we are at a...
You didn't hear me say anything about cutting anybody out?
No, but I'm saying changing positions and stuff. Since they are the union, we have to go through the union to make changes.
When are we going to break this mold? When are we going to break the mold?
Not tonight.
That we need.
That's what
I'm asking you a question. When are we going to break this mold?
Okay, we have another person at the door.
Yeah.
Ms. Gibson.
Attorney Morgan, about this $90 thing, because if my notes are correct and my memory serves, this came up during the supervisor, so 2-3 months ago, when this all started. Okay. It was called the Original, I believe. And it wasn't the board taking action. It sounded to me, if memory serves, the supervisor wanting her to allow her access to something. And she brought in and was talking about a written mandate. That was not the board, but that an individual thing the supervisor was doing. And that's what brought on, well, is this gonna cost us anything? And I think that's where the figure was thrown out there. And the citizens got irate. It's like, wait a minute, no, because the clerk would then, the township would then have to pay for the clerk, have representation also.
Right.
Now, the board is taking action against the clerk, not an individual elected person.
Right, that's right.
That might have changed the landscape as far as that $90 thing, because like I said, I think that is that writ of mandamus that the supervisor was bringing against the clerk, trying to get her to allow her access to whatever this was months back. It just didn't happen, it didn't happen, and then the board as a body decided to do something about it. I could be wrong, but I think that's where that $90 thing came up, and the citizens went, no, they got
Can I
no
add to
way
that? Can I add to that?
Not really, because I ain't really wanna go no further.
Because it does, you're making it sound like I was trying to bring something up. I was wanting us to go into mediation.
That might
That's
be
what
true,
basically,
that might
yes.
be true, Madam Supervisor, but all I'm saying is it was an individual effort on your part
Yes,
to
it
attempt
was.
to get things
It
done.
was.
So it's not a personal thing, you were trying to get things done. And the $90, that's where it came up. I don't take too good a memory, well, I rely on my notes and remember to a certain point. Between the two, I'm pretty close to what I remember. Now, I'm gonna move away from that, but that's where that $90 came into play.
Who said?
Who said what?
About the $90.
When they asked, because I guess the attorney, which represents the board, was gonna represent, I believe, I might be misspeaking, but it was representing the supervisor. How did that go? How did 90 come up? How did 90 come up? I know it had something to do with that writ of mandamus. I know that much. It was during that meeting when it first came up about a writ of mandamus. I remember that.
It was turned down.
Well, it was turned down, don't matter. I'm saying that's when, wherever that $90 came from, that was the meeting in which that money was spoken on.
And it was also
And
stated,
we way past that. The other thing was, leading up to that, is we're in the middle of all of this mess. We get ready to go before a judge, and it really irks me that it was almost an hour, 45 minutes or an hour dedicated to trying to try this whole thing in a gymnasium. Her attorney is not present, the board's attorney or our attorney is present, and it wasn't fair to the citizens. Everybody throwing around their opinions like all of a sudden they're cure legal. Leave it alone. I'm asking, I'm begging. Leave this thing alone. It's going to the judge. The money gonna be spent. Let's just let it go. And like I said Saturday, hopefully we will abide by whatever that judge says. Because ain't no point in going for a judge if he ain't gonna do what he said. We already tried this. It didn't work. So now we gonna go before the judge. So please, if we have another special meeting, if we have a regular board meeting, let's not talk about who did what and how we got here. It don't matter. He's right. And I'm with Mr. Wells. It's other things on the plate. I know it might look like it don't matter, but it does. And you cannot make a citizen's opinion about how things are seem as if it don't matter. It does matter. Because we put y'all there and we can take you out. And that's personal. Yeah, it's personal. Now the other thing was, the state police. The last question I had was on the state police. Are they gonna be in the building up here on Line where they gonna take that over from what the lieutenant was talking about? It sounded like we have to still go up on 10 Mile. Are we gonna be able to access them right here on Line?
I got a call,
Because I thought that's what you guys.
I got a call real recently from Lieutenant Min, and they haven't made that decision, but they say they would like to be located in the township. I asked about the 911 calls, where would it go? And he went on to say that they utilize Oakland County Sheriff now because Oakland County Sheriff is here, but since Oakland County Sheriff is leaving, they will have to direct the 911 calls. Everything will be done through the state. So he told me he will get back with me when he has more concrete information for me and how it'll be done. So I'm quite sure that he'll be getting back soon and I'll be able to give the board some type of report on how they're gonna do this. But they will be utilizing the substation from mine, how much or whatever, I'm not sure yet.
I'm gonna be as positive as I can. I know you can see what the vision is in the board when it came to what's going on. But I
think everybody's taking it too personal. This is a job.
Are you recording this?
She is, and I'm just sitting here, and you can't stop it.
I'm asking.
She is recording it, and you cannot
Who is
stop
she?
it.
You recording this? Mm-hmm, okay. Did you
She
provide
can't.
notice of that to anyone here?
She don't have to. It's
I
just an
asked
open
her a
meeting.
question, not
I'm
you.
telling you.
I'm not
You
talking
don't,
to
you
you.
don't talk to me like that. Who the hell you think you're
Did you
talking
provide
to like
notice of this to
that?
anyone here?
You got me twisted. You ain't gonna talk to me like that. You out your mind. No, you don't have to say nothing to him. Girl, he ain't got to tell you what not to tape. He should have thought about that before they started this mess. You could do what you need to do. Come over, Cherie, come over here. Come over here and shut this down. Come on. Come on, no, come on. Cherie, do this. Do this. I want to hear that. Do this. Do this. Shut it down. Cherie, stand what he talking about. Shut it down. Cherie, he can't tell you not to do that. That's against the law. Just go ahead. You can't do that.
Well, I'm shutting it down now due to the fact that I've been told that I should have, I was asked that I had provided a notice to the general public to be taping this. I didn't think I needed to provide a notice. I'm a citizen and I'm a resident as well, and I am taping it because it's my right, and that's what I thought I had my right to do. So I'm shutting it off. The meeting is not adjourned yet, but I am shutting it down.